So, welcome everybody. Hello, hello. Those of you
Hello.
watching us live, those of you watching on the recording. Today we have the wonderful Nicky joining us all the way from North Devon. Nicky, I'm so excited to ask you all of these fantastic questions and learn a little bit about you. So, welcome, Nicky. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi, Carrie. Yeah, I'm good. It's a lovely sunny day here in Devon.
Good.
So,
I can see your daffodils as well behind you peeking out. It
oh,
looks very spring-like.
yeah.
All right, let's jump in with our first question. So our first question comes from Ruth, who has asked to learn just a little bit about Nicky in general. So anything you'd like to share a little bit about where you live, a little bit about what you do and your family, maybe any pets, anything you'd like to share with us so we can paint a picture.
Okay. So I live in a beautiful little bungalow in North Devon with lovely views of trees and nature outside. And if I just walk out of my house and walk down the lane, I'm at the river. And yeah, it's really lovely. I'm very, very lucky. And we're quite rural. We're about 20 miles from a town, but so it is very much a village. And I I really enjoy being in the garden and going for walks, um, playing music, and playing my flute. I play flute. Um, um, what else do I enjoy? I love cooking, lovely food. I'm into really, really nice, healthy foods, but I only like cooking when I've got time. Yeah.
Thanks so
Oh,
much.
and I work. I work in a children's hospice, so I'm retired. I worked there for 18 years, but now I just go in as bank staff, and I have been there this week actually. But yeah, that's a very rewarding and sometimes emotional job. But yeah, it's a great job. I love it. So I work with children and families. Yeah, of life limited children and their brothers and sisters. I work mainly with their brothers and sisters, and that builds up. I build up a relationship with them of friendship, and also trying to support them emotionally and getting them to open up and talk. And it's more of a friendship than a therapeutic role, with the view to them being able to open up when they need to and talk about their brother or sister and prepare them for the eventual death of their brother and sister, and then lead them through it when they often do die, and lead them through the bereavement of that, and sometimes support them for years and years and years. So yeah, that's what I do.
Wow, Nikki. I did know this about you from before, but hearing you talk about it again now, it's just incredible. I can't imagine the amount of patience and compassion and everything that you have to kind of bring to work every day that you're doing it. And I was going to ask you like how long you are sometimes around for supporting the siblings after they lose their sibling, and sometimes years. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm there's I supported a little girl, oh, right in the beginning of my role, so like 20 years ago, and she's now an adult, and we still support her. We still see her, and her her brother died, and then her dad died as well, and we supported her through all of that, and also another grown up boy now. When he was a little boy, I was supporting him through the death of his sister, and we still support him now. But they're very close relationships.
Wow, that's incredible. It's very, very admirable. And I can't imagine there are many people that can do what you do. And And lucky to have you. You're so calm and so sweet. And yeah, it's so interesting and so inspiring. And it's so nice to hear that you still go in, even though you're retired, you still go in and help out. So
I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave. It's like leaving the family. It's like, I shall never leave. Should always be part of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing, Nikki. So you painted a lovely picture of your house as well. I can kind of picture it in my head. It looks lovely. Okay, so you mentioned that you play the flute, and I know that you play a little bit of music, and I'd love to learn a little bit more about the types of music you play, if you're involved in any groups, any orchestras, and really what does music bring to your life?
And when you talk about when people say that if they do a certain thing, then time just disappears, and that you get totally lost in time. When the only thing that actually does that for me is playing music, playing an instrument. Um, I I just really love playing the flute, and I'm very much a beginner. I'm not a good player, but that doesn't matter because I still really really enjoy it, and I'm motivated to get better and better. I play in a classical orchestra, which I love, and a folk orchestra, and a rock orchestra as well. So they're all totally different, and yeah, I really love it. Um,
That's incredible. There's so many different genres of music that you play. And also, it's really nice to hear how you say you kind of get lost in it. And this kind of, I don't know, in yoga, they call it the flow state, don't they? When you're so impassioned and so connected with whatever you're doing, whether it be gardening or cooking or walking or yoga or music. And it kind of fills you up, right? It kind of has
yeah,
that topping you up kind of sensation.
definitely. Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much, Nikki. I'd like to hear if there's any other musical people out there, and maybe we can create a little yoga for musicians.
I love that. That would
Yeah,
be
very
amazing.
cool. All right. So my next question is, do you have any favorite books? What kind of books do you like to read, if any? And can you give any recommendations to us, maybe to our book club for future reads?
Well, my favourite all-time book is Shantaram, and it's set in Bombay, and it's a story about a bad guy he escapes from prison, and he lives in Bombay and builds up his life, and this he has all sorts of different adventures, and he's an incredible person. He he's a very very good person, so he goes from being this bad guy to an incredibly good person, and it depicts life in Bombay. It's got a dark scene as well because it's there's a lot of background of drugs and violence and all this kind of thing. But he sets up this clinic in the slums, and he becomes their clinic doctor, although he's got no medical training at all. But so it's really really incredible, and also it's a love story as well. So uh, I would highly recommend that. I think it's a very spiritual book, apart from being a love story and an adventure story, and it's also got the dark side. So it's not all lovely.
I have heard of Shantaram, and I have previously been a little bit intimidated by the size. It's quite a big book, isn't it? But maybe that's one for our book club list. Is it a true story?
Yeah.
I thought it was. And
Yes.
you know what Shantaram means? Does it have a
I
meaning?
did know, and it does say in the book, but I've forgotten. I'm going to reread the book because looking at it has made me realize that there's so much of it I don't remember. And there's
We
this
could add it
thing.
to book club.
Huh?
Maybe we could add it to book club.
Yeah, it is long though, so maybe yeah, different. Have a long period of time that you can read it on. There's an Apple TV series of it now. It's on Apple TV. You can watch it, and I really enjoyed that as well. So it's good to read the book, but it's always better to read the book. But if you didn't want to read a really long book, then watch it on Apple TV. But it's
Oh,
a
right.
story.
Thanks for the recommendation. I am definitely gonna go and have another look at that book and also find the Apple TV series.
Yeah. And the
Okay,
other,
so my oh, go ahead.
sorry, the other one is A Thousand Splendid Suns.
Yeah.
It's by Caleb Hassini, which he or she he was the author of The Kite Runner, and that's set in Afghanistan. It's a story of women, and a woman who has a really good friendship with a younger teenager, and it's how they survive through the Taliban, and so it's a story of struggle and finding yourself, and yeah, that is incredible. It really is. And I actually spent some time in Afghanistan when I was 16. I went with my boyfriend. We travelled overland to India, and we went through Afghanistan. So this was in the early 70s. So it's
Wow.
before the war was just brewing, and so you could still travel through it, but it's a magical place. And I'm always led to books that remind me of that time. Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
I that.
Oh, Nikki, that's incredible. I had no idea. I spent a little bit of time over the border in Pakistan, and so when I read The Kite Runner, I also felt very sort of connected, even though it's a
Yeah,
different country, I still could picture. And I know completely what you mean about picking books that basically take you back to places and other times and other cultures and other lives, and so inspiring. Oh, wow, I want to know more about Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is just so beautiful. Yeah, and it is magical. And yes, I did smoke cannabis when I was there.
Did you? I need to get you chatting to Martin. He also spent some time in Afghanistan, um, and so he'll be able to chat to you about that as well.
Ah, well, yeah, I'd love to talk to him about it. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to ask you one more question, two more questions if we have time. Okay. You're so interesting, Nikki. I want to talk to you forever. But my next question is something that I'm excited to ask you. I know that you spend a lot of time with your lovely little grandson who's 2 years old, and I think you sometimes describe him as a bit of a whirlwind. Um, and I would love to ask if you spend lots of time with him, is there anything that he has taught you? I'm sure you've taught him thousands of things, and is there anything he's taught you?
Yes. So one of the things is it's okay to say no. In fact, it's absolutely essential to say no and to have limits, not just for him but for myself as well. And even though with him, he has the most horrendous tantrums, and if you say no to him, then it's the end of the world, and he'll throw things, and he'll get incredibly upset and show really big emotions. And the other thing is that is okay. It's okay to have those big feelings. You don't have to make them go away. In fact, I think they're really, really essential that you that him and us feel really big feelings, and allow them to happen, because I think if you feel these feelings and go through the process, they do disappear. But also the release of tension from being able to feel these feelings is very, very healing, both for him and for us. So it's allowing ourselves to go through it. And as we get older, and it's important for me to teach him emotional regulation, because obviously you can't go around throwing cars at people's heads and etc. that he does. But so it's okay to feel it, but we need to teach him to regulate and to behave appropriately when he's feeling these feelings. So the other thing that it's taught me is that I've got to be a really good role model, and in front of him it's essential that I monitor my, not make my feelings go away, but just behave in appropriate ways so he can learn that, okay, so I'm feeling really angry right now, but this is what I can, this is how I can behave appropriately. And also show him that it's okay to be really sad and to cry. It's definitely okay to cry. I will never say to him, don't cry, stop crying, don't feel that, because I think that's a really bad message for all of us. And forgiveness, it's not holding on to, when he's really naughty and he winds us up and he does terrible things, and it's not to hold on to that. It's to show him that that is not okay. It's not okay to behave like that, but also to move on really quickly and to show love. I think love and connection is the most important thing to give him, and to, all our loved ones and friends, and to be kind. And yeah, I think that's it.
That's so good. Can you come and live with me for a bit and help me look after
But
the kids?
I'm not a perfect person at all, and I do lose my temper, and I do get stressed. I get very stressed actually, and I have to work on that all the time. I have to work on my own behaviour and my own stress, and that's where yoga comes in.
It does. And like you say, like I think what you said there was really interesting. And it's kind of like he's being a bit of a mirror to you as well, because you see his behaviors, then you see your behaviors, and then you think, right, what do I need to do to mirror? Because I can't say one thing and then behave in a different way. If I'm telling him to
So
behave a specific way, then I also need to behave in that way. So it also helps you, doesn't it? Like holds a
def-
mirror up to you and say, okay, like let's work through this together.
yeah, yeah,
um
definitely.
yeah, oh, so inspiring. There's some lessons for me there as well, I'm sure. Thank you, Nikki. All right, so I'm going to ask the last question here, um which is recently you did the yoga beginners course. It's like a 21-day beginners journey, and you've been coming to yoga before that, so you kind
Yeah,
of chose to do the course in addition to your regular classes. I'd love to know what you thought of the course, if you'd recommend it, and maybe what one of the things you learned about yourself or your yoga practice, and how it helps you in your life.
yeah. Well, I'm not a beginner to yoga, although I am a beginner in yoga. But I've been doing yoga for many years. I've dipped in and out of it, and the first time it really made an impression on me was when I was pregnant. It really, really helped me with my second pregnancy, not my first, because I didn't do it in my first, and that's when I rediscovered it. But so I've dipped in and out of it for years since then. But then, so I was going to classes that were far too difficult for me, and I would push myself when my body wasn't really ready to go there, and I ended up having lots of injuries. Um, and I actually did a Stanga yoga course in Crete, which was amazing, but also it was very, very challenging, and I was pushing myself much too hard. And um, where am I? I've lost my thread here. I started to lose all my confidence in yoga because I couldn't. Because of the injuries and the fact that I was having lots of body problems. Like I have osteoarthritis in my hands. That was the first thing. So I was finding it really hard to put pressure on my hands. And then it went into my toes. So I can't flex my toes, and also into my spine, my lower back. So there was a lot of things that was stopping me from doing yoga. And during lockdown, I was doing lots of yoga on YouTube. and I was really struggling with that. Um, but I'd still go to some live classes when it all came alive again. But it was always a struggle. But I kept on doing it, and I kept thinking, no, yoga is the right thing for me to be doing. I tried lots of other things as well, but I always came back to yoga. And then I discovered the Frog Project, and it was, yeah, it was. I wasn't really sure at first because it's quite an investment, and when you have to spread your money out, it was quite an investment. But I'm so glad that I did it. I tried out all the classes, and the ones that I could really manage was the nurture classes and your essentials classes, because I was doing yoga at a more basic level, but I still felt that I needed to learn I needed to relearn the foundations of yoga. And there's so many postures like the warrior poses or the sun salutations that maybe I haven't been doing quite right, or because I can't do the flow, then I was awkward with it, and not getting what as much out of it as what I could. So I wanted to go right back to basics and strip it all down. And this is what the beginners yoga has done for me. It's given me confidence, and it's breaking it down into very short practices means that I can just dip in and out. I can just do a little bit here and there, but also I can build it up into one big practice. And I love the way that you've incorporated the warrior pose and the sun salutations, because that goes back into the Ashtanga, because they start off their sequence with a very long sun salutation, but it's a much much more basic one that you're doing, which I really like. And so even if I didn't do any other yoga at all, if I just did what you've taught on the beginner's course, that would sustain my body and give me strength and flexibility and concentration. And if I didn't do any at all, that would be enough to carry me through old age and keep me healthy, I think. But I'm hoping that with doing those very simple postures, I'll be able to slowly build up again and be able to do more. But it's made me feel safe in yoga again. I started to get to the point where I wasn't safe. It was dangerous. It was hurting me. But now I feel safe. And the mindfulness practices are lovely. I really love the loving kindness one. And I think that's very, very powerful, the loving kindness one. I think if you project the the loving kindness onto people that you're having difficulty in relationships, I think it can shift that relationship. In fact, I've seen that happen, because that's a meditation that I've been doing for quite a long time, and I've seen it shift. I've seen, like if I really don't like someone, or if I'm having a real problem with someone, if I do that towards them, it just makes it easier. I think it breaks down negative feelings and brings in love, loving kindness, which is, yeah. So I would highly recommend the beginner's yoga course to anyone who's struggling with their health and that needs to regain their strength and needs to regain their confidence, and also to new students of yoga who have never done any. It's a brilliant foundation which we can build on, or just stay as you are doing that. That would be fine. That would keep me healthy.
Thanks so much, Nicky. What an incredible um, way to understand where you've come from, where you've been with your yoga journey, where you've come back to, and where you are now. I kind of can place the whole timeline, and I love what you said at the beginning. Like, you're not a beginner in yoga, but you still are a beginner to yoga.
Yeah,
All are a beginner to yoga. Every day when you wake up, it's not about what postures you can do, what postures you can't do. but it's about where your mind is at, how you feel about yourself, um, and everything else. And it's like a lesson looking after a 2-year-old, or a lesson playing the flute in
Yeah,
an orchestra, or a lesson doing yoga on the mat. It's all pretty much the same thing, right?
yeah.
Just trying to
There's something
figure out.
going on here. There's a recording going on in the background. I think it was the end of the beginners. Yeah, one of the beginners yoga ones. It was playing in the background just then. I
I was confused. That's funny.
know. I don't know why.
Oh,
It stopped now. It's not playing now. So
that is funny. Well, thank you so much, Nicky. We're going to wrap up there, but it's been absolutely such a pleasure to speak to you, to learn a little bit more about you. I could talk to you all day long, and I'm sure everyone here listening could listen for longer as well. So if you have more questions, let Nicky know. I'm just reading the comments now from people that have been joining us live. And Joy
brilliant.
says that is Shantaram audiobook. That might be a good place to go.
Oh yeah,
Too
definitely.
long. And
Yeah,
Beth's going to watch it on Apple TV.
yeah.
Great. And also Laura's here. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you so much, Nicky, for your time. I hope that you have a lovely afternoon now out in the sunshine, or whatever you're going to go and do. And take care. And we'll see you very soon in yoga and all the things. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Nicky.
Thank you very
Bye.
much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.